This conference will now be recorded.
Call to order the Vacancy Board special meeting of January 10th at 6 p.m. is now in session. We'll have a roll call of members, starting to my right. Diane? Yeah, Commissioner Hodges? Commissioner Roth?
Present.
Commissioner Long? Johnson?
Present.
Yeah.
My microphone was not on. Commissioner Kelly present.
Okay. Okay. We'll now have a pledge of allegiance to the flag. The flag is to the right. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, announcements. All public sessions of the South Whitehall Township Board of Commissioners are electronically recorded, filed, and posted on the Township website for public access. Public virtual meeting rules.
Thank you. At this time, I will read the hybrid meeting rules for those in attendance virtually as well as in person. Courtesy of the floor for non-agenda items will be at the beginning and end of the agenda. Public comment will be limited to 5 minutes per speaker. For all listed agenda items, the board president will call for courtesy of the floor prior to the Board of Commissioners taking action on that specific agenda item. For in-person attendees, please raise your hand to be recognized, then move to the podium when directed. You will be asked to state your name and address for the record and may then proceed with asking your question. For those participating virtually, please mute your microphone or telephone to avoid any background noise that may cause interference during the meeting. The chat box feature will be active throughout the meeting. If you have a comment or question, please type your full name and address into the chat box. The staff member monitoring GoToMeeting will then unmute your microphone and you will have the opportunity to comment or ask a question.
Public notice, January 10th, 2024, 6 p.m. Vacancy Board special meeting. Public notice of the South Whitehall Township Special Vacancy Board meeting. Notice is hereby given that South Whitehall Township Vacancy Board will hold a special meeting in the public meeting room at the South Whitehall Township Municipal Building, which is located at 4444 Walbert Avenue, Allentown, Lehigh County, Pennsylvania, on the following date and time: Wednesday, January 10th, 2024 at 6 p.m. Vacancy Board consists of the Board of the Commissioners and one South Whitehall Township registered elector who is appointed by the Board of Commissioners to serve as the Vacancy Board Chairman. Purpose of meeting: 1, to consider candidates for the vacant position of Township Commissioner. 2, to consider the appointment by resolution of a successor to fill the vacancy in the position of Township Commissioner in accordance with the requirements of the First Class Township Code. 3, to consider any other business which may come before the Vacancy Board. Please feel free to view this meeting via your computer, tablet, or smartphone. For more information, visit the Township website at www.southwhitehall.com. David C. Torrey, Vacancy Board Chairman. Tom Pertucci, Township Manager.
Yeah, at this time, what I can do for the Board of Commissioners as well as all the members of the public, I'd like to recap why this Vacancy Board special meeting is necessary tonight and why we are here, essentially. So Section 530, vacancies in general of the First Class Township Code, provides that the board has 30 days to appoint a successor when a vacancy occurs in the elected office of Commissioner due to termination of residency from the Township. So to be specific, the Board of Commissioners had until December 30th, 2023 to appoint a successor to former Commissioner David M. Kennedy. That deadline has now passed. In accordance with First Class Township Code provisions, the Vacancy Board, which is convening this evening, has a deadline of January 14th to take action on the appointment of a successor. The Board of Commissioners previously convened a special meeting on Thursday, December 28th at 6 p.m. And during that meeting, 8 candidates were interviewed for the open position. The township has received a total of 8 applications. Following the interviews, the Board of Commissioners elected to take additional time to review the candidates given the number of applications received. Accordingly, this evening's special meeting was advertised to convene. So that affidavit was actually provided for in the morning call. The advertisement ran in the January 3rd issue. So options for tonight for the Vacancy Board, which consists of the Board of Commissioners and Chairman Torrey, they may consider the filling of the vacant elected office of Township Commissioner in accordance with the First Class Township Code. So 1, they may appoint by resolution a resident of the township to fill the vacancy in the office of elected commissioners during this evening's meeting. Should the board resolve to take this action, a resolution is listed on the agenda to allow for this official action. If the vacancy board takes this action, the selected appointee will need to fulfill the oath of office requirement prior to taking office. That action will not be taken during this evening's meeting. Should the vacancy board not make the appointment before January 14th, the matter then heads to the Court of Common Pleas. The vacancies would be filled upon presentation of a petition signed by not less than 15 registered electors of the township. For tonight, the procedures are as follows. Each member of the vacancy board will be afforded the opportunity to identify a candidate whom he or she wants to suggest as the appointee to the Board of Commissioners. This is intended as an opportunity for each board member to expound on the virtues of a particular candidate. 2, each member of the vacancy board will then be afforded the opportunity to make a motion to nominate and appoint by resolution a successor to the vacant Board of Commissioners position. It's important to note that the first candidate to receive a majority vote of 3 or more vacancy board members will be the person successfully appointed by the board. So with that, I will turn it back to Chairman David Torrey.
Thank you, Tom. Okay, we have a review of applications. As Mr. Petrucci has said, we have had 8 applicants, and it would now go to Commissioner Diane Kelly for comments.
Thank you, Chairman Torrey. I want to thank first our Township Manager, Tom Petrucci, for publishing the advertisement for this vacancy on our social media outlets, website, and in the newspaper. We were very fortunate to receive 8 very strong applications, so thank you. It's interesting, last year we had a similar vacancy around the same time of year, and we received 2 applicants, so much more this year. We're very, very grateful for all who responded. The pool of applicants that we were presented with had very diverse backgrounds and experience, and I certainly want to thank each of you for your interest in serving our community. It was very interesting to spend time with each one individually and ask questions and hear your feedback and learn about your professional career achievements and the reasons why you were interested in being a commissioner. I have given this matter a great deal of thought. I have reviewed each resume and letter of interest, as well as all of the responses to the questions that this board posed to each candidate. For me, one candidate stood out from the rest. I was greatly impressed by his passion and lifelong commitment to serving our community. That candidate is Mr. Chris Peischel. His resume reflects an extensive history of volunteer service in South Whitehall Township. He has volunteered for over 15 years on our Public Safety Committee, 5 years on the South Whitehall Township Water and Sewer Authority, 16 years as a volunteer on the Emergency Management Team, and 40 years of service as a volunteer firefighter with Greenwald's Fire Company. On top of that, I think he found a little time to coach baseball, if I remember right. Listening to Mr. Peischel explain his service on these different boards during the interview, for me, I learned that he has gained an incredible amount of knowledge and experience, both of our township and in working with others. And for those reasons, I feel that he would certainly be a tremendous benefit to our board. I noticed that Mr. Peischel was in the audience for most of our Board of Commissioner meetings last year. He was present during our budget review meetings, and he often shared his perspective and participated by asking very insightful questions about the various agenda items. So it was clear to me that his knowledge of the township and his care and concern for the matters that were before us as we met last year was very evident. During the interview, I was especially interested when you commented that one of the reasons you were interested in this position was you wanted to work to maintain the quality of life that you were able to experience as a lifelong resident here, and you'd like to see your children be afforded that same opportunity. You also shared your knowledge of the historical roots of our township and your desire to assure that the legacy of South Whitehall be preserved. All of these factors, including your decades of giving through volunteering, in my opinion, make Mr. Peischel uniquely qualified to be the best candidate to fill the vacant commissioner seat. And with that, I'll turn it back to you, Chairman Torrey.
Thank you. Thank you, Commissioner Kelly. Commissioner Hodges, please, appreciate your comments.
Thank you, Mr. Torrey. I appreciate it. We have 8 very impressive candidates who are obviously leaders in their field of expertise. Many thanks to each of them who took the time to apply and interview for this position. It's not easy to just throw one's hat into the ring. Your life will be open to public examination. You will give much of your time and energy to this position. You will be criticized. Yet, serving our community will be one of the most humbling and selfless experiences in your lifetime. There is only one open position on this board, yet it is my hope that the 7 that are not appointed will choose to become more involved by joining a board or commission, as we presently have quite a few openings and opportunities. And I sincerely hope I see you all again very soon. There is a candidate with decades-long years of service who stands out to me. During the interview process, I did not even have to ask him if he attends any meetings, because I know he does, as I see him at different township meetings and I hear him speak, ask questions, and offer suggestions. He has served our country while in the Naval Reserves. He has served our township while serving on the Board of Authority and presently on Public Safety Commission. He has served our community through his involvement in volunteer firefighting and emergency services. He has served our youth and their families through coaching programs and high school emergency management programs. He was an applicant who stated the importance of finding common grounds during times of disagreement and stressed the importance of historical preservation and passing along knowledge with the historical roots of our township. He recently campaigned in the 2023 election, knocked on doors, and spoke with thousands of residents in pursuit of this position. 2,838 residents came out to vote for him. The difference was 137 votes. Very, very small margin. I can best sum it up by quoting a letter to the editor written by one of our residents in spring 2023. Please bear with me here. Chris Peischel, a veteran and firefighter who serves on the South Whitehall Public Safety Commission, has served his country and community for decades and has a vision of safety, transparency, fiscal accountability, preserving history, and balanced growth. He's the guy who will help others in the face of danger. Therefore, I feel that Chris Peischel should succeed David Kennedy on the Board of Commissioners.
Thank you, Commissioner Hodges. And I'll turn it over to Commissioner Jacob Roth for comments.
Thank you, Chairman Torrey. I first want to start by thanking the 8 applicants who put their name in for this position. I will say that I'll just say that I was pleased that we had so many applicants, as opposed to a year ago when I applied and I was one of two. I hope that each of the applicants, even if you're not chosen, chooses to serve our community in a variety of ways. If that's in more of an official capacity, I would invite you to please apply for one of our volunteer boards and commissions. We are always looking for volunteers, people who want to serve in a new way, people who may want to serve on a different board or commission that they've served on in the past. And I think all 8 of the applicants are more than qualified, not only to sit on this board, but to sit on any of our volunteer boards. So I really want to thank all 8 applicants. I have nothing negative to say about any one of you, because I thank you for putting your name in and dedicating the time to this community and stepping up to serve. There is one candidate, though, who I feel is the best person for this job at this time. And I don't want to be redundant in my comments, but I believe that person to be Chris Peischel. And like I said, I don't want to repeat what Commissioners Kelly and Hodges have said, but in reviewing all the applications and reviewing Chris's application in particular, I've been able to distill his strengths down into 4 points. The first is the reality that this township and this board is going to be facing a significant number of complex challenges in the coming years. We're currently working through a rewrite of our zoning ordinance. We have to plan for Lehigh County Authority's expansion project, which they presented to this board 2 months ago. We're going to be dealing with other issues of land preservation, land use, public safety, figuring out long-term sustainable ways to maintain and grow the volunteer fire service, our police department, and our other emergency services. So with respect to all of those issues and the challenges that this board is going to face over the next year, in Chris joining the board, there's no learning curve. He's served as a member of the Public Safety Commission. He has served our volunteer fire companies. He has served as a member of the Navy. He has also served as a member of the South Whitehall Township Water and Sewer Authority in previous years. So he brings all of that experience to the dais he would as a commissioner if he is selected. The second bullet point that I was able to take away from Chris's application and his interview was his independence. Chris is an independent thinker. He will disagree without being disagreeable. He will try to find common ground. He will challenge all of us on our views. He will challenge my views. We may not always agree, but I hope we can find common ground. And having someone on the board who presents a different perspective or comes at a problem based on their different experiences certainly adds value to the discussion and adds value to our board. The third bullet point that I believe sets Chris Peischel apart from all the other applicants is that he comes highly recommended, literally. Our board, in addition to his application, received 4 letters of recommendation supporting Chris from a wide variety of individuals with different experiences. He came highly endorsed by my predecessor, former Commissioner Mike Wolk. He came highly endorsed by a former member of the South Whitehall Township Water and Sewer Authority. He came recommended by Lehigh County Coroner Dan Buglio. And I believe that these recommendations matter because these individuals took time out of their busy schedules to write to us on their own and recommend a candidate based on their various experiences in the community. And the last point may seem simple, but to me, it's the most important point about Chris. A lot of people say, and I include myself in this group, that in their life they seek to serve a higher purpose. They want to be a part of something bigger than themselves. And I think it's wonderful anytime an individual gets to be part of something bigger than themselves. In Chris Peischel's case, though, his entire life has been about serving something bigger than himself in his career in emergency services, his time at Greenwald's Fire Company, his time in the Navy, his time as a coach, his time as a member of the Water and Sewer Authority, his time as a member of the Public Safety Commission. Everything Chris has done for the past 40 years, he has given of himself for something bigger than himself. And that to me is what makes him stand out as a candidate. And it's hard to measure just how many people are better off in this community and outside because Chris Peischel stepped up to serve. And I can only imagine how many people will be better off in this community because he stepped up to serve on this board. And it would be my honor after this discussion to nominate him to serve the remainder of David Kennedy's term. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Roth. And I'll turn to Commissioner Tommy Johns for comments.
I don't know do I have to even say anything since we got 3 commissioners already that are? No,
You can say anything.
okay. I want to thank everybody that did apply for the position. I don't really know Chris at all, so I can't really comment on him. I did read his resumes and all that. My feelings, the most qualified candidate was Jamal Amel, however you say his last name, Jamal Hameen Met. I know he wasn't serving on any boards. He couldn't serve on any boards because of his business and traveling all over the country. But with his background and everything, I thought for the South Whitehall Township, he was the most qualified person to step in to take Mr. Kennedy's position here in South Whitehall. Other than that, I have nothing else to say.
Thank you. Thank you, Commissioner Johns. I will make a brief comment now on regarding the candidates. I consider this job the top job in the township. And kind of have to earn your keep and work your way up to it. Get a feel of how government works, especially local government. And I echo what the 3 other commissioners have said about Chris Peischel. I've known Chris Peischel. We've run fire calls together, run for 30 years. And I'll tell you, if you want to know where this township is, run fire calls. Want to know where all the township line separates on Mott's Chunk Road? How many times it goes back and forth between South Whitehall, South Whitehall again, and then Whitehall? You run fire calls. If you want to know where things flood in this township, you run fire calls. You want to know what it's like to be up at 4 in the morning and 4-degree temperatures, below 4 above zero, you run fire calls. So that's one of my big things that Chris knows the township. The other thing is, and I was a history major. I thought I knew the township. And I knew the Kempt House. And I was in the Kempt House, the oldest continuously living house that people lived in. That's when John Dudek was there. I didn't know about the Troxel House until Chris told me. When we talk about preserving land and preserving quality of life, well, one of the things has to be considered is where's the history of the township? Several years ago, the township's residents stepped up and voted a tax increase to save the dam, because that's a historic thing. And so, again, I have to support Chris also for the fact that, as I mentioned, he's got 2,838 votes. So, and I also like the point is having served on the sewer authority when this Lehigh County Authority study or proposal comes before the township. He's got some basic knowledge, and that is going to control the development of the township, not only the ability to serve the Kleins Island or wherever else they do to preserve to process sewage or else even and on the other side is the county authority, the water, but also the sewer lines that will go from the various communities, whether it be South Whitehall, Upper McCungy, and that. You need a basic knowledge of that. And so that's why I would go for Chris. The other thing I said, there are some very well-qualified candidates, and as been mentioned before, there are openings on some boards now, also on other boards, terms expire. And there's some very well-qualified people here, especially when you get into compliance, audit, and some legal issues. I certainly hope that those other candidates will apply for some of these positions that are open now, or those positions that may become open. So that concludes my comments. I believe now we have a call for nomination. There's a resolution for the Vacancy Board of South Whitehall Township, Lehigh County, to appoint someone as successor commissioner to fill this vacant seat of David Kennedy. Do I hear someone make a motion to that effect?
Chairman Torrey, I move that we appoint Chris Peischel as successor commissioner to fill the vacant seat of David M. Kennedy.
I second the motion.
Okay. I'll call, is there any further discussion among board members? Any further discussion? Okay. Then I'll call for the vote.
Excuse me, you have to call, I'm sorry, yeah, I just want to make sure we have a public comment.
Public comment, I'm sorry, okay.
I'm sorry.
Is there a public comment on this? None from there, okay. Then we'll proceed with the vote.
Do we need a roll call vote?
You can, yeah, I would recommend it, yeah.
Okay.
Mr. Kelly?
Aye.
Mr. Hodges?
Aye.
Mr. Roth?
Aye.
Mr. Johns? No. I vote aye. So, the Mr. Chris Peischel is appointed successor commissioner to David M. Kennedy. And I do have to sign the resolution there. Is there anything from the courtesy of the floor? None there. Okay. There's no executive session tonight. Is there a motion for adjournment?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye.